Hey everyone, welcome back to my video blog where I talk about Azure, data services, and a little bit of professional development. And today we're going to talk about the steps that I would recommend you take in order to become a solution architect. So this is a topic that comes up pretty frequently when I do presentations or working with customers because I guess there isn't really a clear path. And the reason for that, I believe, is because there are so many different types of solution architects, and depending on what the requirements are, whether they be from a sales perspective or a consulting perspective, or more along the lines of like an enterprise architect, there are different ways to approach it. But these tips hopefully are universal across all of those different options. The first area I want to cover is communication and being a good communicator and what it takes to really rise above and put yourself in the spotlight. When we start with that, we want to talk about being comfortable in front of a crowd. That crowd could be peers, your team. It could be a presentation at a user group or something like that of people who are looking to learn from you. And then there's always the senior leadership team or in front of a bunch of executives or something like that. You could run into any of those situations and all of those situations as a solution architect, whether it's an enterprise architect, a data architect, whatever it happens to be. So that's definitely the first thing is make sure you're comfortable in front of a crowd and don't have any reservations because of being in front of a crowd. If you're not comfortable with public speaking, being a solution architect is probably not right for you. Going along with being a great presenter is having great written skills, being able to articulate the recommendations you're making from both a technical perspective and a non-technical perspective. I've run across a lot of people in my past who are great at the technical aspects, but not necessarily as good at the people skills or the human touch, if you will. And so that can be a drawback if you want to be in that type of an architect role, because there is definitely a requirement to be able to have good communication and to be able to put your thoughts on paper. Now, you also want to be able to continue to hone those skills. If you're not a great presenter now, as long as you have the courage to get up in front of people, just practice, man. Practice, 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 and keep practicing. Practice in front of peers, practice in front of friends, family, practice in front of the mirror, practice in front of your dog, whatever it takes, right? Just make sure you get up there, you speak out loud, you get in front of a mirror, you look at your facial expressions, you look at your mannerisms. Anything, it helps to just get more comfortable, right? And then if you're comfortable, ask for feedback from people that you trust and you believe will give you good feedback. People that you respect and people that you believe have a good perspective on things. It's always great to get honest feedback from people, but you got to have a thick skin, right? You can't take the criticism as a negative way. The more criticism you get, remember, the better you get, right? Because you can improve from that criticism. The next key area, I would say, is to really lean into your experience. Use some examples of your past implementations or projects or experiences that you've had. So if you're architecting a network or a cloud solution, an Azure solution, or a data solution, or a software application, right? Use the experience that you have as examples within the writing or within the presentation. I was successful because of XYZ, and so I believe it relates here. Things like that are very beneficial because it gives you legitimacy that you've done this before and that you're not just guessing on this experience. And it also gives you perspective. You can read in a book as much as you possibly can, but until you do it for real, you just cannot replace that experience. Now, speaking of reading from a book, the next tip I would say is to consume everything you can on the topic that you are architecting. Again, you've got a lot of different options there for architects and what type of architect you want to be, but there's a ton of content out there as well. So you want to read as much as you can, consume as much video content. I mean, obviously there's a ton of it out there. You want to get some hands-on. You want to practice with whatever the technology is that you're using, as best you can, as much as you can, and try to use as close to real-life examples that you'd be architecting in order to provide that type of solution and have that type of architected solution out. There's tons of great hands-on stuff. There's a ton of free content out there. And that also goes toward your speaking capabilities and your communication styles, right? All of those things can be improved by working on it and honing that craft, as they say. The last area for me is a bit mixed, and that's about certifications. So I would definitely say that certifications add a level of validity to your resume and to your ability to find that type of solution architect work. Now, I don't think that necessary solutions give you the presence that you need in order to be a solution architect. So where you gain great experience by working on a certification, so let's just say you're going for your Azure Solution Architect certification. That certification is going to give you great perspective on different customer challenges and different solutions that can be architected out. But the reality is having a certification is much less valuable than overall having the experience and working through the problems and having those examples that you can use from your previous work that you've done. So certifications are great because they give you great material to prep on and they give you some perspective on different areas, but I don't think they're the end-all be-all. And sometimes I would recommend even just practicing for the certification because you're going to touch a lot of different topics and you're going to get exposure to a lot of things that you might not have seen or thought of in the past. So that's about it for my recommendations on becoming a solution architect. I definitely welcome your feedback. If I'm off base or if I missed something important, throw it in the comments below. Otherwise, really appreciate everybody subscribing, liking these videos, adding comments, and my own constructive criticism is helpful. So keep up the good work and help me out. And otherwise, thanks for watching and have a great day.